Okay, the moment is here. Welcome to the official book launch of The Pearl of Piparo.
All right.
So before we begin, I'm going to ask Pastor Grace, the lead pastor of Agape Bible Ministries, the church that my mom has been going to for over 30 years, to open us in prayer.
You know, I believe that the Pearl of Piparo came to our church because of my husband. And I think he would be very thrilled if he were with us to be here today. When she gave me her book, I read it through almost in one sitting, and what stuck with me was that this is a historical document. Especially her early days, they brought back to me so many things that I gleaned from my mother and my grandmother, who both grew up in southern Trinidad, like Pearl did. And that's what just stuck with me. I guess it's nostalgic. And so, but what I thought was, you know, you can write a history book and you can do it from an academic point of view and interview lots of people and look in some wonderful documents and research and all that. This is not that at all. This is the living expression of someone who lived through this age. And it's a snapshot of history that I think is very important for us to know. So let's stand and let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you so much that you have given us life, and that you have given us life abundantly in Jesus Christ. And so we thank you and we praise you this afternoon. We thank you for such an occasion like this, when we can come and dedicate the work of our hands to you, and the work of our minds, and the work of our memory. And we can commit these things to you because you are the one who brought us forth in this time of history, and we thank you for this privilege. And so we commit this afternoon into your hands, and we ask your blessing in Jesus' name. Amen.
So I would just like to introduce myself. I'm Abiola Spring, the Pearl of Piparo's daughter. My sister and I grew up listening to my mom tell us all these tales growing up in Piparo, and we would follow every word in amazement at the stories of old-time country living. We were enchanted by tales of her dad, Manny Douglas, Tante Edith, Ma, sleeping on ground beds with her cousin, innovative punishments from her grandma, like kneeling on the grater, which we were always told, at least you're not kneeling on the grater. Homebirds from the village midwife, and she would regale us of tales of her father who would come home after a few drinks and request food from the coal pot. To this day, I always wondered what it would be like to see him stick fighting or fainting from seeing a snake in the backyard. When she was 18, she had to leave the only home she knew, only with the knowledge that her dad gave her. Frustrated and devastated by a complicated relationship with her mom, she moved to Tunapuna to meet a brother she only once met one time, to live with him in a studio space in his apartment. As a child, we listened to how she cried in the long taxi ride to town. We could only imagine what that felt like. So the Pearl of Piparo takes us on that journey, from what was then to what is now. Like it says in the book of Esther, even as a child, perhaps she was created for such a time as this. You see in the book, the underlying thread was God's hand of protection. A God that she admitted in the book she didn't know back then, but she was to say to him, God, if you are real, let me know that you are here. The Pearl of Piparo is not only a story of Pearl Douglas Spring, but about the saving grace of God in my mom's life. She wrote it not just to remember, but to share with you all how he is so real to her and how he can be so real to us. And today we celebrate that journey of how she became a pro, how a grain of sand in an oyster becomes a pro. So thanks for joining us on that journey as we celebrate a true woman of the Trinity soil, and Esther among us, my mom, Pearl Douglas Spring, the Pearl of Piparo. So the first speaker we would like to call upon is Uncle Winston Drayton, one of my mom's oldest and dearest friends. Is he here, Dad? No, I don't see him yet. Okay. Well, Dad, you're up next.
That's nice. I'm Spring.
Someone who needs no introduction after 50 years of marriage to the Pearl of Piparo, Cecil Spring.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's interesting. Ali, I don't think I have to say anything because what you said is just what I have on my paper. But I guess I have to come up to scratch, right? Now I have been married to the Pearl of Piparo for over 50 years. Now I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking about the real Pearl. Just as the book says, it has been an eventful journey. We, the family, have been through everything mentioned in the book. Now, the book cannot be about Pearl alone because she has a tail behind, so that we will always, if the good things we enjoy, the bad things we suffer, but we were in all of it together. All right? As you read, you will discover that she has drive. She's ambitious. And then she herself will say, she's a go-getter. She's also a risk taker. I can tell you from personal experience, she is, not was, is a risk taker. But she's also persuasive. You see, every risk will have an opposite action. So when she's saying yes, I'm saying no. But the yes always wins. And from personal experience, I never want to fight. Let me give you some situation to demonstrate this. Just, you'll probably read it in the book, but just imagine for yourself a slim 18-year-old girl leaving her family's home and deciding to come to Tunapuna, a place she has never been before, transport she has never taken before. And I'm sure going against the wishes of other members of the family and coming to Tunapuna, not knowing where she's going. And not only that, she's coming not with a grip, not with a suitcase, but at 8 cents paper bag with the handle. You know what the nuts menus now? That also belongs coming to Tunapuna. Yeah. So, talk about risk. I mean, in this age, if you go to do that, you're sure going to get in trouble. Yeah. also think about this, like another one. That was one. I don't want to go into it because I'm sure you're going to read it in the book. So I don't want to, how to say, spoiler alert. I don't want to issue spoiler alerts. Just give you enough that you will want the book, that you will want to read the book, and I'm sure it will give you some. Think about this one. You got married, you have nice plans. After this, we'll get a home. After this, we'll make children, we'll have children, and so on, and then we'll retire. And then, within 8 years, my wife is coming to me. I'm leaving now. I have something else to do. I want to go into business. No. She's not going to business as a sideline. She's not going into business as a hobby. As we see in Trinidad, she fired the work. She fired the work. I'm going in a strange direction. And I will protest. But as I told you, I've never won an argument. So, here I am in the argument. Now, just to kind of close this off. When you are tied on to a speedboat, learn to ski. Right? Because I found myself tied on to a speedboat going down the road. But there's another one that say what? Lead, follow, or get out of the way. But I think I learned to ski and I learned to get out of the way. So there, thanks for the journey. An eventful journey. We overcame. Thank you very much.
And now we'll have an official book review by Sister Deborah Jean-Baptiste, Pastor Deborah Jean-Baptiste, renowned orator and author. Oh, I'll go with Sister. No.
Thank you very much. A very hearty good day to all of you. It is quite a phenomenal experience being here, having read the book. I have the advantage of most of you because I have read The Pearl of Piparo. So I want to share, as I have been asked by my dear friend, Sister Pearl. Hearty good day to everyone, and if you are here, it means you're very special because the Pearl of Piparo invited you, and she's special. Autobiography remains a gripping, powerful genre in literature as it explores, exposes, and exemplifies the inner machinery driving a life and propelling it forward. This here is the genre, personal memoir, autobiography. There is nothing to compare with it. This pearl, as pearls are, is formed when an irritant, a particle, enters mollusk and is rolled and coated in inner substance until it forms a gem of its own. This is what we are witness to today. The irritant, the frustration, from irritation to frustration, but never dumbfounded, going on to conquer and become an inspiration. The Pearl of Piparo takes us to a time and place that can easily be forgotten. A time when children pulled sugar cane from a passing train, and they ate with bare hands and teeth that sugar cane. A time when shining bush tea and belly full was a treat. you could ride on a train to Tabaquite. In fact, we are transported in this book to the inner villages of South Trinidad, place names conjuring nostalgia. Here then, Todd's Road, Piparo, Farnum, Hardbargain. I don't know if Google could help you here. I don't know if Waze could take you there. But Ecclesville, Williamsville, Mayo, Flanagan, listen, you go and you will find a geography lesson is needed for those places so mentioned. Where childhood memoirs included a grandmother who is a midwife, a gopher with cocktail, jigger between toes, a chulha, hopscotch, moral, marbles, dirt oven, chalta amchar. When last did you eat that? No electricity, catching crab in the river and thinking coral snake was bracelet. A father, Manny, he's a strong man. He came from a lineage of stick fighters like Tan Britain. The father, Manny, knew the stick fight songs and was active as a stick fighting legend. When I dead, bury my clothes. Yes. No poor man, no afraid. No poor man, no poor man, no afraid. No poor man. 10,000, 10,000 to buy me one. Boy. That's real thing. Stick fighting day, stick fighting legend. That is not no ordinary individual. This is the father to the pearl. A musician too, played trumpet and quattro. He spoke Spanish and Hindi on the side. A stepmother, Tante Edith, who tried on one occasion carrying sick pearl on her back, walking to find a doctor. A mother amazingly named Novelia, as if she knew a novel would be written about her. Otherwise known as Lucy or Jutsi. A mother of three siblings are entangled in this autobiography is Ruby and Pearl and Erla. And if you check the name Erla, it is really Pearl without the P. Mother could beat licks with gova whip and machine strap. Mother could talk patois and Hindi, she could adapt. Parents in those days were linguistic treasures. And to top that, most could talk gibberish, another language, so children could not understand. Pearl had designs on entrepreneurship early in life. As a child, she cradled dreams of opening her own restaurant. She also planted the land, this little Pearl. Bhaji and pepper, bodi and corn, sold items in nearby shop for income. That money could spend on transportation. And of course, corn could eat in ways you will probably not recall, because you could get roast corn, boiled corn, parched corn, chili bibi from corn, baby from corn, cornmeal dumpling, cornmeal bake, and the cornless end up. So the food planted could add to the diet on the plate. This is a story of innovation and survival, overcoming. Memories of life in Piparo entail fruit trees in the yard too. Mango, plum, sapodilla, pomsite, food to pick right there. And through primary schools, Todd's Road, Chaguanas Government, Mount Moriah Methodist, Ecclesville, RC, San Fernando, EC, all that is primary schools. For an education with or without shoes. An education that lingered, bolstered with learning from life's experiences and a desire to overcome hardship. As one chapter is entitled, it was about finding a way. And that Pearl could do. Resourcefulness, innovative strategy, finding a way out of poverty, out of dismal into enlightenment. Finding a way to go to Auntie K's children showing Empire Cinema on a Sunday afternoon. That's an afternoon like today. Another classic childhood memory, that jingle playing on the radio. Now, if you could sing it, we know the era you're from. So come along. Bermuda's Biscuit Company in the island of Trinidad is a haven for everybody, and it made the children so glad. At home or school or vacation, biscuit to suit the occasion. I know you're bound to agree, they make biscuit in variety. Tell them, Bermuda's does big Mopsy, Bermuda's does big Dixie, vanilla cookies with some cream sandwich if you please. Oh yes, Bermuda's does big. So we going. Funny, big and small, they can't stop Bermuda's at all. That's what was driving Pearl to go to the anti-care program in Empire. But she telling the people there, oh, she going to church. This was the essence of the Pearl, finding a way to coat that irritant with smooth substance, to embrace the beauty in the middle of the pain. Pearl had to handle grief, loss, betrayal, disappointment, death of siblings, death of a child, yet emerged strong and with plans and purpose secured. Pearl knew poverty, where rent was $3 a month and it could not be paid. And so hungry she had to eat at a neighbor. Yet she emerged due to divine favor. From humble first job as nanny, dressing in maid uniform, blue dress with white apron to clean and cook and get children ready, white dress with white apron to attend to children in the afternoon, to jobs that make entry in society, make meeting persons of fame and fortune like Trevor McDonald and the mighty Sparrow. Jobs that shaped her life and business acumen. This book tells of them. Industrial Development Corporation, Management Development Center. The Lord made a way. He was her way maker. Experienced at small business division, she learned how to start and manage a business. Pearl started with food catering, weddings, home parties, and was applying for a loan soon after to expand into larger territories. Avocado restaurant remains a legacy business venture. You have to clap that. A local food restaurant. This was the dream she had when she was a girl attending San Fernando EC School, what we call in San Fernando Bronx School. An avocado restaurant, when she would go for lunch, she would be watching and taking notes. But avocado restaurant, when she was grown, was when she would be making market at wee hours in the morning, up all hours planning and creating recipes. Cooking food for the school feeding program was another legacy accomplishment. Here she cooked the meals and drove to deliver the meals, crossing every hurdle along the way. Program shut down, mobile food truck on Chapman Street, restructured program 3 days a week. She survived them all. Pearl emerged glowing, smooth, precious as a gem she was named after. Dreams, plans, goals, all achieved. Dream house purchased by faith, paid off in 4 years. When you hear that? Deed of release, the thanksgiving could never cease. The testimonies continue from the pink handbag that was lost and found. From the Heathrow Airport victory of not paying 300 pounds overweight. At Gatwick Airport upgrade to first class to date. Of Hurricane Harvey survival. Of the husband birthday safari in the backyard on dry ground when rain threatened flood. The testimonies continue. Pearl has taken adversity and triumphed to business prosperity and legacy. And with a husband who is a gem himself. A maths teacher. So he could calculate with fervor. He had the formula to work the marriage out. He could do addition and multiplication. And where necessary, subtraction was in order so as not to cause division. This is a man of God's own choosing, without whom the success could have not been achieved. Without whom this book would not be so powerful. To have such success, a husband who is supportive is a gift, a blessing. So this book is really an affirmation. The formation of a pearl for future generations to grasp and emulate. This is a tribute. And so this evening we salute this gem, this book, the Pearl of Piparo.
Now, how do you follow up that? I need to look for the Bermuda song on YouTube. Okay, so now Uncle Winston is here, my mom's friend that she met in Tunapuna over 40 years ago. So, and my godfather, Uncle Winston.
Good afternoon. It's a joy to be here this evening to salute Pearl on the launch of, is it biography or autobiography? You always get mixed up. Autobiography. Pearl of Piparo. Well, I came to know Pearl through her husband, Cecil, who is my brother, basically, even though we are from different mothers. And as things will have it, as his mother passed on, I would say she became my second ma spring. And I learned to love and appreciate Pearl as much as I did my first ma spring. And that will always stay with me. I would say that most of the experiences that I have in life that will convince you that there is a God and that He is massive and He is potent is watching Pearl traverse her adversities, embrace her successes, and most of all, create a legacy for her children and grandchildren that the world can stand by and look on and say, she is from great stock. They are from great stock. So I want to salute her again, as no one else could, other than the performance we have recorded that we just had. And say, blessings, love, and good luck in massive sales for your book, and that it inspires a whole generation of Trinidadians to come. Thank you.
Okay, and now I'd like to call on someone that I call Uncle Sultan, but he was in a leadership role at NBC where my mom worked, and wrote the foreword of the Pearl of Piparo, so a very dear friend to my mom and to our family, Mr. Nazir Sultan.
Good afternoon. I know this is being produced for the BBC. I just wanted to know, could I do what I do without this? Because my voice is pretty, or for recording purposes, you need it. You need it for recording purposes. Okay, I normally obey. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
First, let me say that anything this afternoon that may appear to be socially distant or aloof is not intended. I cut short my vacation in Tobago, having been instructed by Pearl that I must be present. And when I think it was some earthly instruction, although it came from Pearl, only to be advised by my doctor that I need surgery on Wednesday. So therefore, I am kind of protecting you and protecting myself because I'd like to have that done. Inside this hand of mine is lodged 2 pieces of steel with 12 screws, hence the reason for some hesitancy in finding things. So please apologize. But first, I'd like to say this is a most beautiful book launch. The opening sermon by Pastor fitting of the occasion. And then I'll skip Cecil for a while because he lied. I'll skip him for a while. I will go to the orator. It's a performance par excellence. I thought I read that book in order to do a forward. But you have embodied the book. You have embodied the book. Congratulations. You will only do that if you take your trade seriously or if you love a system. Please give her a round of applause. But do say it, do save a little for me at the end. Then I had Uncle who came. Uncle, you came late. But you made up for it with your simplicity, your truthfulness, and your authenticity. I felt it right there. So thank you very much. Okay. So you lament, where is this? You're going in the back because you know you're dealing with Sultan. Yeah, he's in the back. You lament what? You learn to serve or you never win. And there is a God. You are paying for your sins. The young 18-year-old left the country, came to Tunapuna and appeared by you for lessons. If you are living I noticed you left that out. If you were living in today's times, I would have the police investigate you for something crime. Good news, I know you and I know you well. A man of higher principles you would hardly find. So you are excused on this occasion. Continue to serve. Now, imagine this. After 3 decades, I get a phone call. Are you Nazir Sultan? Yes, I am. I want you to write the foreword for my book. I said, who are you? She said, this is Pearl Springer. I said, Spring. Is Spring or Springer? Spring. Spring. Springer is the sister. That poet and philosopher. Right, Pearl Spring. I said, why me? You come from a place with me, with the Talmas of the world, the Clyde James of the world, the Lee Beckles of the world. Yes, true, some of them are dead. But, and God bless their souls. There is Pearlita next door. Or, why me? To which she said, the Spirit has moved me here. Well, this lady probably knows me better than the best of my friends. For once she invoked that is the Lord that lands her here, I cannot defect from that assignment. All right. I can't. But the mischief maker I am, I would find privilege in it. I said, so anything I write in the foreword, or should I associate with this book, you will not object, because I will invoke the Spirit has led me to this conclusion. So I accepted it, and here I am this afternoon. 3 decades evaporated like Bachi when she connected with me for this assignment. It is like if we met yesterday. Though privileged as we are, we crossed each other at terminals, giving each other, we need to meet, we need to talk. We must have said that on many occasions. Did find the time to do it. This project brought us together. So thank you, Pearl, and thank your loving daughter. The image I have of her is the the one who schooled in Paris, in culinary arts, but find it hard to beat you over a dish. But that's for another occasion. That's for another occasion. You know, I have heard the best of minds in my country lament, is this a real space? This Trinidad and Tobago, is it a real space? Just yesterday, I heard my colleague Terence Farrell in describing the criminal justice system ask the question, is this a real place? Because we have seen all the signs, we have had the resources, and somehow we have ignored it, as if we like it so. And that's why I try not to align myself with the powerlessness or the cheap chatter that passes for solutions for these problems that we have created. For Einstein has warned us, it requires a new level of thinking to attend to these problems than the thinking or the mindset that created them. Different level of thinking. I have never been seduced by activism of mass mobilization. I'm not saying there is not a place for it, but I have always believed that souls are saved one by one. And in doing that work, we get a multiplier effect where generations and communities can find solace and healing. And that's why I was attracted to, oh, this is my copy, the Pearl of Piparo. That's why I am interested in the Pearl. So what do I hope to do this afternoon? And by the way, Madam Chair, you can stop me at any time because I really come here to talk. Stop me at any time, but give me a 5 minutes notice because there's a call to action. I am not going to be imprisoned by I have so much amount of time to talk on this and that and write it down. And, no. In essence, well, I have heard the word vulnerable and risk-taking. I will add to it reckless. But is a recklessness, could I say this, Pastor? Is a recklessness of the divine. It's where the spirit roams free and deep. Not apologizing for how I show up. For I am a work in the making, guided by the divine. It's an offering I'm doing this afternoon. Stop me when. Just be guided, my hours are billed, I'm billed by the hours. Right. So, what I want to do is to use those rich passages and references that were made in a most beautiful time. We are talking about the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. In those beautiful tongues that very few Trinidadians are aware of. Flanagan tongue. Yeah. Hardbargain, as if to suggest who the hell will make a child in Hardbargain. Right? Farnum Village. And she has had the breadth and depth of a Laventille experience, a Port of Spain experience, a Tunapuna experience where that fella is supposed to be teaching her lessons. Right? She has had all that. We have to recognize that the Pearl of Piparo offers us an understanding of what is meant to be Trini to the bone. The good pieces and the not so good pieces. But we cannot imprison her offering, her project, in the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago, or those middle passages that people from this generation belong, because it has a timeless value. So besides sketching the Trini to the bone mindset that created, I hope also to locate her work in the pantheon of high priests and philosophers who preceded her, so you could see the timeless relevance of the, and I mean every cent. She doesn't even know that, because it's the divine that has moved her. It's divine that moved her. Great work. Could you give her at this stage a round of applause for this majestic work? So I have here to plumb the depths of Pearl's story and call what is Trini to the bone, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what she chose, how it is aligned to the sayings of high priests and philosophers. And I'm going to dabble a little bit in the work of Needleman, the Sufis, Buddha, Weber, Calvin, and that Japanese Oslo. You could stop me anytime. Right. That's what I hope to do. It's a little intricate. Sometimes you would probably lament that this guy is mad or something like that. But Paul's work, as it has evoked in Jean-Baptiste, that kind of performance calls for an entreatment that is not ordinary. It's deep. It explains us. One of the reasons I believe that we are missing the point in my beloved republic is we have become surface dwellers. Best in the same constituency used to refer to it not as irresponsibility, but as non-responsible. We are aliens, we are strangers to the act of what being responsible is. I have a variant of that as an explanation. I call it non-presence. I call it absence. And I've heard Pearl's work described in many ways. But I think the attractiveness of Pearl's work is that it represents a real human being in a real world, attending to real problems, with the only support that the Lord is with me. And therefore, what Cecil spoke of, what Pastor spoke of, what Uncle spoke of, what Jean-Baptiste spoke of, we are dealing with real people, real experience. The pundits and the politicians and the fine minds would have you believe from ivory towers that they can forge solutions for us. They are misleading us. They know not of what they speak. So they spew stupidness like cold pots and breadfruit from privileged stances that seem to betray the truthfulness of the struggle we are experiencing. And they offer solutions. In some ways, that blue light or whatever the shine on the vehicle have affected every sinew within them. They cannot relate to us any longer. Pearl has not made that mistake. She has told the story without adornment and with scant care for how the linguistic thing could line up, because she has a story to tell. And where did it start? I must confess, she has a slit somewhere in front dedicated to Father and all of that. But I do not think you understand fully what money has done to your head. That is my hero in the book, Manny. Bajon, stick fighter, women boy, romantic, schemer, trickster. musician. But prime of all, responsible and accountable. We lament, and I hear so many things about the black man not living up to his responsibilities as fathers, epitomized in books like My Mother Who Fathered Me. Go read The Pearl of Piparo. Meet a man they call Manny, who went off his way to say, this is my child, I want to take care of her, I want to lead her. He didn't shirk responsibility. I'm yet to find an example in my life where a man went after his kids in order to give them what he has. But we'll come back to that. Because, as I said, the period, the good, the bad, and the ugly, Pearl, not because of Cecil, probably because of a divine association that carried her. Not that surfer that holding. Pearl was able to sift. And it's left to the reader, every single one of you in this room, to really see what applies to you. Because Pearl has not hid anything from us. She went in there and she embraced the lessons. Some she discarded. But she is money. She has money in her. That's her father. I think it's because of Manny's manhood that I'm attracted to him. I have all those curses within me too. Cause a daughter born in conflictual circumstances. Imagine this. To take her teeth and go to the pavement and sharpen her teeth to be a fighter to protect her sister. This is not, I want to tell a story. I want it to sound good. I want to go and sing it. People could not defect from Manny's work. This is me. This is what I have inhabited. This is responsible for what I am today. I make no apologies as to whether I did them all right. That is for the Lord to decide. But I lived and carried out his instructions as I saw and as I could offer. You want to shame and blame? Go right ahead. It is of little value. It's like water on duck. I lived a life. I enjoyed my life. I was clerk typist, secretary, office manager, wife, mother. Listen, man, entrepreneur. I live. That's my story. And I am not finished yet. So Cecil, boy, get some kind of safety wrap or something like that. I think surfing and thing will serve you. You think she done with you. She ain't done with you at all. Right? Yes, oh boy. You could stop me, you know. Living in a plural society, I have always argued, carry with it responsibilities that beyond the traditional civics that has been taught to us in school. Don't do this, don't thief, you know that. We are not living in Mother India or Mother Africa. We live in Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, to be civic responsible, you have to reach out from the cocoon of your own tribal confines and understand, not tolerate, understand what the other offers. Pearl did that, and she was helped. She got what? A tower for a present. A tower. I I got $267 to buy a dining room set for my father. And my father-in-law, who was Grenadian, gave me a gallon of quality bush rum from Aruba. Oh my goodness. She got a tower. But this is Pearl's story, you know. From a tower, she went on with pride to talk about winning the best school feeding menu. What it was? Curry chicken, curry chana, and curry mango. That Pearl Spring there. Pearl understood life in its fullest in this republic. She understood. I mean, a few pieces of work. Just correct me, Pearl. Was there also a Tobago link? Yes. Somebody born on high sea or something like that? Money. Who could boast? I boast all where I live in for. Tobago, the Bocas, Flanagan Tom, Laventille, Tunapuna, the whole set of Central and Chaguanas and things. We have here something that Auntie Kay and Uncle Ricky and them could find good companionship with. I wish you find some time to share those stories because they are important stories. They will take us away from surface dwelling to probably really treat for the first time what real life was and what really helped us, as opposed to, I no insult men, these religious chants and things that are memes that are offered from time to time. I think they are landing on the young people as empty slogans, and they have no currency. We have to find a way to do that. So we get to understand a little bit what Rudder means when he said Trinity to the bone. Manifesting all this mischievousness and glory, mistake-making and laughing, and Trinity to the bone could be orator Jean-Baptiste, who's beautiful. Let me now spend a little time dealing with the timeless. Wait, you could always stop me, you know. You could always stop me. Right? Always stop me. I'm paid by the hour. Always stop me. We are all in need of healing. Just give me the 5 minutes. We are all in need of healing. Lamentations and platitudes and rhetoric will not take us where we need to go. Pearl used neuroscience. You all hear about neuroscience. Pearl used neuroscience. She used neuroscience. Pearl got feedback. She acted on it. She sought advice. She learned. She experimented till she fooled examiners in order to get her sister a job. Were you touching the girl for years? That is what it is. She did that. That is neuroscience. To understand people and how to be in sync and how to get them, like Cecil, to do exactly what you want. Money would have called that dotishness. But on a higher note, what the Pearl of Piparo offers us is, as Needleman says, how to serve the planet as we wish to free ourselves from the tyranny of the unmastered lower self, to discriminate between selfless action and disguised egotism. How can we study ourselves as we are and as we can become? That is this. An endless study, an endless study. And then the Sufi urges us to find meaning in our lives. Gradually turn myself away from this world. And it is as if I behold the throne of my Lord coming forth. And from Pearl you got a good word. From Pearl you got a sincere smile. From Pearl, you got examples of good character, patience, and tolerance. And from Pearl, like you'll experience this afternoon, feed and greet who you know and you don't know. Our Pearl has done all of that. She has honored the Sufis. And in terms of the Buddha and the process of passing away, because she has left certain things as she moves on and as she serves her community now, and she wrote a book at this time. You know, the Buddha talks about, there was a parrot in the village. And the parrot in this good village in Flanagan, yeah, he was there in Flanagan town. And as the neighbors pass, you wanted another picture? As the neighbors pass, the parrot will say, stupid and ugly. They get up morning to work and walk and get it stupid and ugly. Pass the 2 days, stupid and ugly. Say, no, I had enough of that. So they go call the shopkeeper. He say, listen, man, this is a peaceful village. How could you be training this parrot with such insulting comment? Stupid and ugly. So he didn't see the parrot for about 2 weeks. You know, the parrot went for counseling. Right? But the parrot showed up. And the person now, with this already listening, gingerly walking. And as he passed the parrot said, Pearl knows. Nobody needs to tell Pearl she good and great or this or that. Pearl knows. Pearl has been called and cultivated in real life. What you want to hear? Some kind of little social media mind. Oh, it's so nice. That was nice. A good book and all. Pearl knows. She ain't need no parrot to repeat any stupidness for she. And I would say, what does Calvin and Weber of the Protestant movement offers us that Pearl has done? Seek salvation. In the very midst of worldly life, our action in this world, we do not necessarily have to go up to the monk. The monk is up there, and be away. We have to find God in the real world. The circumstances in which one finds oneself were to be regarded as one's calling. The station in one's life in which we could serve God. That is, tell me 5. You don't have to say Sultan. 2, but you didn't tell me 5, or you can tell me 2 now. You don't follow instruction. Right, she tell me 2. She tell me 2. So what I am saying essentially is that it is in the cut and thrust of everyday life that we have to find our calling. Stop lamenting if I did have. And if it was so, those are mere excuses. Do the best we can with what we have. Manny had a dream for Pearl, but Pearl had her own dream. Pearl had her own dream. So while Manny would have taken out his tensions in a simple way, reach for the bar and land one on him, Pearl has learned more civil and godlike ways. She has struggled like a pearl, allowing the daily irritation just to propel her to greater and greater things. The Pearl of Piparo is Pearl's story. We all have a story within us. Not to share it as Pearl did is a sin. Leave here today. It need not be a book, but leave here today. Tomorrow, get to that parrot and start to talk about your story. This, the Pearl of Piparo, is about Pearlita evolving into Pearl. That's her story. What's yours? Thank you.
No one else could say it like Mr. Nazir Sultan. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Tobago to be here today. So now we'll have a song by Miss Brenda Fraser.
For the things he has done for us, things so undeserved, yet you give to prove your love for us. The voices of a million angels could not express my gratitude. All that I am and ever hope to be, I owe it all to thee. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things he has done.
the glory. So at this time, we would like to open up the floor to anybody who would like to say anything about the Pearl of Piparo. So please don't be shy and come forward. So now, if there's nobody else, I would like to invite the Pearl of Piparo herself to give her remarks.
Greetings to all. When I look around at the faces, I feel very comfortable because I know I'm in the midst of family and friends. Yes. First, I want to thank God for making the Pearl of Piparo a reality after years of planning. So today, I can't help but be excited and to give glory to God for seeing me through this long and arduous journey. God has been in the midst of this evening and in the midst of everything I've accomplished so far. I also want to thank my pastors, my family and friends for being here and for sharing the evening with me. Of course, most of you have read the book. So I will attempt to answer some of the questions you are most likely to ask. First of all, why the Pearl of Piparo? And where is Piparo? my father, who is my hero in the book, moved us around from village to village and from school to school. We moved from Farnum to Hardbargain to Piparo to Ecclesville, all in the Williamsville area. The village that brought us the most happiness was Piparo. Piparo is a small village off the Tabaquite road and a few miles from San Fernando. As you may know, Piparo is the village that Valsayn made famous a few years ago. It is also the village with one of Trinidad's mud volcanoes. In secondary school in San Fernando, most of the students came from surrounding areas, such as Princeton, Claxon Bay, DB, Faizabad, etc. But nobody else traveled to school from Piparo. Some jokingly said that we were from the United States of Piparo because they never heard of a place called Piparo. They, however, look forward each day to the fruits we would bring from luscious Piparo for both teachers and friends. Of course, this brought me and my sister some popularity. We didn't own any property, but lived in a rented old house situated on an acre of land filled with fruit trees of every description. And of course, the neighbors' fruits were also ours. Piparo, to us, was the heaven of the earth. Why I decided to document my story. My story is that of me as a little girl, growing up with my two sisters with a single parent, in our case, my father. The story went on to tell of a father, because of his love for his three daughters, decided to defy the court's order, giving custody to his young wife. He decided to escape to the countryside and raise his three daughters on his own, away from family and friends. How well his plan worked and how I was able to devise a plan of my own to complete the race is within the book. I will now read a few lines in the book showing the circumstances that led me to finish the race and rescue the rest of my family. After Dad lost his job, I saw trouble on the horizon. Dad had no savings and absolutely no means of supporting us. We were not able to pay our rent, which was only $3 per month. There was a neighbor who did her cooking outdoors. We would often check to see when she would be finished and go over, knowing that she would offer us a plate. Instead of eating it on the spot, we would take it home to divide among all of us. For dinner, we would often go back to the neighbor's house. This time, she would invite us upstairs. These people were Seventh-day Adventists, and I'm not sure whether they realized what we were going through, but they placed huge plates of food before us. I remember one night, we were so hungry, we grabbed the bakes and started to eat before they began to pray. For a while, I wondered why Dad had brought us to this place, because in the former place, Piparo, at least we had access to fruits. Here in Ecclesville, we had to purchase everything, and we had no money. Dad was now 60 years old and retired from his job in the government quarry. My older sister was now 19, also had no job. I had just turned 17 and was given a letter from Canon Farquhar of the Anglican Church to take to Coffee School. I realized that accepting a job as a pupil teacher was not going to fill the gap because we urgently needed a place to live. At this juncture, I decided to come up with a plan of my own. My plan was to obtain a job as a living nanny, where I would get immediate accommodation, pay my father's rent, save some money for at least a year, and then travel to England to pursue nursing. Please note, I hated nursing. My dream was to become a radio announcer like the famous June Gonzalez, so that the students who shunned me in school would one day long to be my friend. At this point, this plan seemed to be my only option. I figured I had to let someone know of our situation. My mother knew, but she did nothing to help. I decided I had to do something. This is when I remembered my eldest brother, Joseph, who had a reasonable job with the Public Transport Service Corporation. I decided to contact him and ask for help. With the little money Dad had gotten from the sale of our only toy piano, I went by bus in search of my brother. Sitting in the bus, I cried all the way from Marabella to Port of Spain. An elderly man sitting next to me said, "Child, why are you crying? You are breaking my heart." I looked at him and wondered what was the point of telling him. He couldn't help. He further went on, "If you don't tell me, I wouldn't be able to help." This only helped to increase my tears. When I got to the terminus in Port of Spain, it was approximately 11 o'clock. I was thirsty and hungry. I remained in the terminal from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. with no sight of a Tunapuna bus. There was this nuts vendor using all sorts of funny jokes and one-liners to sell his nuts. Around 4 o'clock, he came to me and said, "Child, I noticed you are standing here for the entire day. Where are you going?" I told him I was going to Tunapuna. To this he replied, "You don't have to wait on a Tunapuna bus. You can take an Aruka bus, a Five Rivers bus, an Arima bus. Look over there. There's an Aruka bus. Take that one." I thanked him and went on to the bus, still not sure whether he had given me the correct information. On the way to Tunapuna, the bus stopped at Mova, Barataria, Sao, Mount Hope, Shaflet, St. Joseph, Purette. When I started to get concerned now, I went to the driver to inquire whether this bus was going to Tunapuna. This fatherly-looking driver inquired exactly where I was going and told me to relax. He would drop me at my destination, Pentecostal Trees in Tunapuna. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out how I left Egypt and ended up in Canaan. Really. I often wonder to myself the reason for recapping some of the unpleasant details of my life. However, I am reminded that it's not about me. It's about what God has done for me and what He can do for others. Now, if I were a pastor, my Bible reading for this afternoon would come from Psalm 30, verses 11 and 12, which reads, "Thou hast turned my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. To this end, my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent."
And finally, we'll have a presentation by Fearless Spring, the Pearl of Piparo's daughter.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the most exciting part of our night. We have the book signing, then we have some dining, right? And we have a very small presentation to make. Thank you to my cousin Allison for being our presenter tonight. Can I ask Pastor Grace to please step forward? Pastor Grace, just a small.
You need a big.
He just took one. Yes. Okay. And then it's clear. I know that. Okay. All right. And then I'd like to call Pastor Sultan. Everybody else here, I might design on behalf of his wife.
Definitely have to hold it.
Okay, we hold it for you. I will.
Got it. Oh, wait. Thank you very much.
Then I'd like to call Sister Deborah.
These are beautiful. You got a big. Good. Sure. Thank you.
Then I'd like to call Auntie Brenda up, please, to come forward. This is your complimentary copy. And I'd like to call back Uncle Winston.
Could you just give it in front?
Yes.
I'd like to call up next Miss Heather Thurop Schultz of the University Credit Union. And I'd just like to say on behalf of Mom, our newest author, thank you all for coming. We invite you to some light refreshments and to her book signing table to get your own copy. It's $100. If not today, it's available on Amazon.
No local store.
Not yet.
Well, does everybody have their wine in hand? Let's make sure, right? Everybody has their wine in hand for a toast, given by the Pearl of Piparo's grandson, Bryce.
Hello. Hello. I'd like to raise a toast to Granny at her birthday. Congratulations, Granny. Please join me in toasting her. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray! One more time? Okay.
Hip, hip.
Hooray! Okay, and now we welcome everybody out in the foyer to get some light refreshments, and then we'll have a book signing as well to conclude the evening.